Hi, this is Dr. Murthy with your video lecture for Week 5 in Sociology 420, Sociology of Deviant Behavior. I really hope this works out this time. I've had numerous problems today trying to make this video lecture for you. Hopefully the third time now is the charm, and I learned that I really need to limit this video to 15 minutes for YouTube to accept it and not reject it. So I'll be moving along pretty quickly here. Anything I don't read from the PowerPoint slides, I trust you to look up yourself. I've posted these PowerPoint slides in the Week 5 folder or under the Week 5 tab in the Documents and Resources folder on Blackboard, so you can always look these up there and read more. First of all, I want to let you know that I'm still grading your first short papers. It's taking a little longer than I anticipated to finish grading them. I will announce when they are all graded. I'll announce it on Blackboard. My goal is to have them all graded by the end of this weekend. I apologize for the delay on that. Your Week 3 discussion board posts would have been graded today, Tuesday, November 22nd, if I hadn't had all these technical issues making this video lecture. Instead, I will finish grading them tomorrow, Wednesday, November 23rd for you. Again, that's my goal. I'll announce when they're graded. As far as the quizzes, I've already posted an announcement and sent out an email to all of you regarding the quizzes, so I'll let you look into that yourself and email me if you have any questions or concerns. Same thing with the class note takers. I've mentioned it in class and also posted an announcement and sent out an email about a change in class note takers. And we will finish watching the program on prostitution that we started last week. During our next class meeting, Wednesday, November 30th, we'll meet in room G103 again because it has the working VHS player. The Week 4 discussion board posts on prostitution are due by 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, November 23rd. There is no Week 4 quiz. Again, I'll let you read about the quiz situation on your own. You have two options for the Week 5 discussion board due next Wednesday, November 30th by 5:30 p.m. This was the original question on Blackboard for the Week 5 discussion board. Hard to read here, easier to read on Blackboard, but basically you are writing about the current status of same-sex marriage in California and what you think about that current status. To prepare for this, there are 4 links on the history of marriage that appear in the assignments folder, I believe, under the Week 5 tab. So do read those 4 links. They're very short. Then there's this little description in Blackboard on the history of marriage. And then I've included a link for you to go and look at some Google hits on the current status of same-sex marriage in California. And based on that, you will be well prepared to answer the question of whether you believe that we as Californians should reconsider our position on the current ban on same-sex marriage, and why or why not. Your other option for the Week 5 discussion board is based on the documentary that is required viewing for you this week on your own. I've included a link to this documentary in these PowerPoint slides and also in the assignments folder for Week 5. If we were meeting for class this week, I would have you watch this documentary in class. Instead, I want you to view it on your own. It's from the MTV True Life series. It's called I Want to Be Straight. And based on that and the text, you're basically, if you choose this option for discussion board, you're answering the question about whether you think a young gay man or young lesbian woman can become straight. Is that possible? Why or why not, based on the text in the documentary? And then the second part of that question is responding to whether you think the 2 young people featured in the documentary will successfully become straight. Okay, next week, week 6, the topic is substance abuse. Everyone will bring 2 questions each for our guest speaker. That is everyone but Regina and Juliana, who will be bringing refreshments for everyone. Thank you both. 3 students signed up last week to bring outside material on substance abuse. We'll look at that during next week's class meeting. I will lecture on the theories from chapters 11 and 12 on substance abuse. 3 students will then share outside material related to gays and other victims of stigma. That is this week's topic for week 5. And as I said, we'll finish the video on prostitution and the law, and hopefully we'll have time to talk about your first short papers and also to start going over the instructions for your final paper in this class due week 8 during our last class. So, in this video lecture, we're going to look at a few slides from the textbook PowerPoints on theories of homosexuality and the Kinsey study. And also, while you are looking at these slides or watching this video presentation, you may want to refer to my outline of theories on deviance in the Documents and Resources folder under the Week 5 tab. I've updated that outline to include the theories I'm going to talk about in this video lecture, and I'm going to read from this outline in presenting the theories. So, the theories of homosexuality, most of them anyway, are positivist because they're concerned with finding out the cause for homosexuality. What makes people in our strongly heterosexual society become or be homosexual? So there are 3 biological theories that try to explain this. One is the hormone theory, which, as it says in this slide, is basically about a lack of certain sex hormones. These slides, by the way, are the textbook slides. They've just been reformatted to fit with the design I chose for the slides for this video lecture. But going back to hormone theory, the book on page 245 says, quote, "Gay men have lower levels of male sex hormones than straight men, and lesbians have less female sex hormones than male sex hormones, while straight women have more female sex hormones." That's very hard for me to keep track of, but as the slide says, it's basically a theory about hormones lacking in homosexuals, and that explains their homosexuality. But most research, the book says, also on page 245, most research has shown that there is no difference in hormones between homosexuals and heterosexuals. So as it says on this slide, all of these theories are open to criticism, and that's the major criticism of the hormone theory. That research doesn't back it up. The genetic theory is the one that we hear all the time in our society right now. It's the theory that gay people are born that way. To quote Lady Gaga. So homosexuality is wired into their genes. However, this has come under criticism as well, the genetic theory, and critics argue that social environment and experiences seem to have as much to do with determining sexual orientation as do genes. And this is based on research done on twins. And this is also on page 245 in the book. The 3rd biological theory of homosexuality is brain theory, and it says that homosexuals have smaller brains than heterosexuals. The criticism against this theory is that studies of homosexual brains were done, of course, after homosexuals had died, usually from AIDS. So the smaller brain size could be a result of the AIDS virus, the full-blown AIDS virus, or it could be a response to same-sex activities. Perhaps homosexuals' brains changed in shape and size based on their same-sex activities during life. So again, all of these theories are open to criticism. There are also psychiatric theories of homosexuality. These are described on page 246 of the text. Psychiatric theories still hold sway with some psychiatrists, but as I've mentioned in class and as the book says, psychiatrists no longer assume that homosexuality is a form of mental illness. That theory was disproved in the 1970s. However, some homosexuals who see psychiatrists have what some psychiatrists call sexual orientation disturbance. And psychiatrists see sexual orientation disturbance as homosexuality or homosexuals struggling with their sexual orientation because of abnormal relationships with their parents. So, in other words, their homosexuality and their struggle with it is a result of their relationships with their parents lacking in some way. But, as the book points out, the majority of gays have not had disturbed relationships with their parents, and so the majority of homosexuals do not suffer from sexual orientation disturbance. Only a handful of homosexuals who do see psychiatrists for issues with their sexual orientation. But of course, what we're most interested in are the sociological theories. To most sociologists, especially positivists, even if a biological predisposition exists, they believe that certain social forces subtly guide individuals into homosexuality. So in other words, homosexual orientation is a combination of biology and social experiences. And this theory is based on the fact that homosexual orientation differs greatly from society to society. And if it were purely biologically based, then the incidence of homosexuality would be similar in all societies, but it isn't. So sociologists argue there must not be some universal cause for homosexuality, but instead homosexuality must be a response to social experiences. So both biology and socialization matter to positivists. To constructionists, however, and I'm going to mention them for a minute before I get to this slide, constructionists, of course, are not so interested in the causes of homosexuality, so they interpret homosexuality as a social construct, not as a clearly definable reality with a specific cause. Thus, constructionists are more interested in understanding how society in general responds to homosexuals and homosexuality. What is the societal response, not what is the cause of homosexuality. I'm going to go through these Kinsey slides quickly because they're not so much related to theory and you can look at them on your own. But basically what the Kinsey study in the 1940s and 50s found is that very few of us are exclusively heterosexual or exclusively homosexual. Instead, sexuality is a spectrum and we all most of us anyway, fall somewhere on this scale, as much as we'd like to believe otherwise in a lot of cases. And if we're right in the middle at number 3, then according to this Kinsey scale, we are bisexual. All right, and so I'm going to wrap up this video lecture here to remind you again to watch the documentary I Want to Be Straight. It's at this link. Let's check it to make sure that it takes you directly there. It does indeed. There's the advertisement that starts it. And so please do watch this video before our week 6 class meeting. I hope to discuss it in class next week. And please don't hesitate to email me if you have any questions or concerns. I know that this video lecture was kind of rushed, so at least rushed on my part. So do let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday, and I will see you next week. Bye.